Is XRP still in a bull run, or is it time for the bear market? We got things shaking up here in the markets again this Tuesday morning. We're going to bring you a quick update, and I'm responding to Blockchain Backer in his post that he put out yesterday. I know it had a lot of people spooked. A lot of people took and watched that video and are now saying that he's calling for a bear market. The one thing that stuck out to me is he said that there are no certainties that he was going to be sharing in that video. And so I wanted to address that. What we saw take place over this last weekend is still being broken down. But the key point that I think that we need to take away from this is that the suits do not care that retail traders are tapped out and struggling on Main Street. They don't care that you are scared. In fact, they generated this, in my opinion, right? This has been a coordinated and orchestrated crash and liquidity wipeout before ETFs are going live for the broader altcoin space, before we get that Bitcoin dominance breaking down and that rotation into altcoins that we always see in every single cycle. Now, what's different this time? Let's break it down for you guys in today's video. And you guys can call me crazy, but this is what I did this morning. Check it out. I said, call me insane, but I bought this morning. Shout out to my son for waking me up at about 4:30 in the morning, and I struggled to go back to sleep, but I was able to catch the dip. That's the nice thing about having the kids wake you up in the middle of the night. And so I bought XRP this morning. I actually added to my XRP long at $2.42. And so the average entry on my XRP long right now is $2.54. Please remember that when I talk about my XRP long, this is a trade separate from all of my XRP. I do not put XRP up as collateral to go play in the leverage. So please, you can call me insane for buying XRP. You can call me insane for still using leverage. But if that money goes poof and gone, I own 100% of my XRP without leverage. It's untouched. Not a problem. But folks, we've been here before, which is why I'm not scared one bit. XRP in 2017, right before a 6,000% pump, it flash crashed almost 53%. Now, the flash crash that we just got last week, depending on how you measure it, was about 50% as well, too. And so XRP Captain shared this. Huge shout out to him for doing so. It is good to remind everybody that you can go back. And I saw Peter Brandt, legendary, well, I don't know if he's legendary, but very popular stock trader and technical analysis on Twitter. He had posted that XRP had the most beautiful, most pure chart. The most pure chart is the XRP chart zoomed all the way out. And I noticed that back on 2017, you can see that death candle, that little death wick, where XRP dropped by 50% right before it blasted off to new all-time highs above $3. Now we find ourselves in the middle of an XRP bull run, right? And XRP gets wiped out for 50%. And this is setting us up, right? We cleared out all that liquidity so that we can go set another new all-time high. Are we going to do another 6,000%? No, I don't think so. But we are going to see significant price appreciation on XRP. BlackRock reporting Q3 earnings. Larry Fink says clients around the world are coming to BlackRock for deeper, more dynamic partnerships across public and private asset classes. All is well at BlackRock, but it's going to get better because they're going to be launching that XRP ETF. That's what's coming next. Now, quick update on that. We're not getting ETFs till the government shutdown ends. This could be the longest shutdown ever. The betting markets are saying it is going to be the longest shutdown, longer than 35 days. So, are we still another month out? All the world's a stage as far as I'm concerned. And so, for all I know, the government could be shut down till December, probably not. But, you got to be prepared for anything in this environment. You cannot be over leveraged, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, you got to invest in the inevitable, which is the government will reopen. And once they do, the SEC is going to have a stack of ETFs to sign off on. But the XRP, along with Solana and Litecoin and other, primary large cap altcoins, they're ready to go. The ETFs for those are absolutely ready to go. It's just we're not going to get them till the staged government shutdown ends. Now, this is all happening. BlackRock reporting this. They're going to work on their own tokenization. All is well at BlackRock, and they haven't even told us about the XRP ETF yet. I think that's coming potentially by Ripple's Swell conference in November. But now we have JP Morgan joining the party as well, says it will allow clients to trade crypto. Custody will follow, but not in the near term horizon. Now, this is what we've been saying with Vanguard and all these guys, right? They're only releasing about 10% of the overall plan and what they've been working on behind the scenes. It's the same with BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink, that you can pull the clips on all these guys saying, no need to get exposure to crypto, even as going far to say, Charlie Munger, it's rat poison squared or whatever he said, right? Fast forward to 2025, it's going to transcend traditional currencies, and you got Larry Fink on 60 Minutes telling the masses, once again, the masses that tune into 60 Minutes on a regular basis, right, who are going to get the call from their fund manager, right, the registered investment advisor, telling them, now it's safe to get into crypto. Now you can come on in because we have a product to sell you. When we didn't have a product to sell you, you needed to stay away. It was a pet rock. It was rat poison squared. I mean, you would think that it was a fatal diagnosis, a terminal diagnosis if you invested in crypto up until now. Now that the suits are ready, they're going to be selling it for us. Now, we've been saying, do not wait. We can buy it today. We can roll over a 401k today to a crypto IRA with our sponsor, iTrust Capital. This is why I was so ready to get them tapped in as a community resource for us. Now, once again, you have the traditional Roth SEP IRA that you can invest in crypto, and they also offer precious metals as well. And then the premium custody account too. You can stake your Ethereum in your crypto IRA or the premium custody account, keeping it in institutional grade custody. The ability to stake on this is now live on iTrust Capital. And so make sure that you guys use my promo code. I'm going to scroll on down so you can see it's Rector9 is the special offer for your $100 funding bonus. But while the suits are now coming out and saying, okay, it's safe, I hope that you've been taking advantage of your opportunity to front run them. That window is closing. So get tapped in with our sponsor, iTrust Capital. That's linked up down below. Once again, the promo code is Rector9. Now, XRP, bull market, bear market, where are we at? This is the video. I watched it. We were talking about it in my Discord group yesterday. And so I, shared the video with them, and then I gave them my response. But I wanted to come talk about this publicly. Now, a huge shout out to BC Backer. I got to meet him in Vegas a couple times now. Saw him again this last year. Cool guy, good guy. And I got to give him credit because at least he's got some, to give a call, right? And the call that he was giving and putting his money where his mouth was, selling off 50% of his crypto before this event, nothing but respect, right? Great call, great play, worked out really well. Did anybody know that it was going to be this big of a liquidation event? No, but it was a tremendous call, right? And I feel like after watching this video, I felt like, after you've made a big call like that and you've hit it out of the park, sometimes it's nice to just take a step back. And the key thing that I picked up on the beginning of the video is he said that he had no certainties. There was no certainty that this is the beginning of a bear market or this is the beginning of a bull market. But it seems like everybody overheard or didn't listen to that part of the video where he said, I have no certainties for you. Everybody watched that video and then said, oh, BC Backer's calling for the bottom. And I read through some of the comments and people were running their victory lap on selling off portions of their portfolio, thanking BC Backer. And that's great. Once again, there's plenty of profit for folks to take. I could take a bunch of profit on XRP and other cryptos as well too. You guys could as well, right? You could take some profit and there's nothing wrong. Nobody ever went broke taking profit. The problem with the video and how it's being perceived is everybody's saying it's bear market. To me, it was a weather report. He said, here's the scenarios where it could rain. Here's the scenarios where it could shine. What do you do in that scenario? You bring a rain jacket. What does that mean, practically speaking, with our portfolios? Don't over leverage yourself. Don't go all in that we're still in a bull run and it's off to the races, and especially don't lever up too much, right? If you haven't learned your lesson by now, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, coming from somebody who is levered up with 2.5x leverage. Plenty of margin. My liquidation price is $1.40. I didn't even have a liquidation price before I bought this morning because I had so much margin in my account. My liquidation price on Coinbase was 0. After I bought the dip this morning, my liquidation price is now like $1.40 or something like that. Which, if it's the end of the world again and we do another liquidity event, maybe we do go down that low. I don't think so. But what I took away from that video is no certainties. Could go down, could go up. We need more data. Okay. Well, we have the data. And one thing that BC Backer didn't talk about, and he didn't, as far as I'm, aware of, he's not accounting for. And I know that he knows this, but, I think that he was just giving a strictly technical, analytical perspective on the charts. And he was also overlaying historical fractals of when we've gone into, bear markets in the past, which, that can work out, except for when you're about to get ETFs going live and you're about to see billions of inflows coming in that we've never seen before. This is truly uncharted territory. So where do you plug in 5 to 10 billion of inflows into ETF in your chart? There is no indicator. There is no button you can press to account for 5 to 10 billion of inflows. Now, maybe some people could argue there's fibs that you could pull. And he even showed the case too, that if XRP recovers back up to, above $3, then we'll be back right again into that scenario where we're on our way to going to those Fibonacci extensions that are up at $8 and beyond potentially. And so when I, look at the technicals, that's just one part of the story. Right? You got to look at the fundamentals as well. And what we're looking at here is the tailwinds of billions of inflows coming through the ETFs. It's a certainty. It's inevitable. Is the government going to open up tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year? I don't know. Maybe it won't open up ever. But we will get those ETFs. Those inflows will come. And it's impossible. Nothing's a guarantee, so I can't say it's impossible. But the math is so simple that if we are going to see 5 to 10 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs, you're not at a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or $5 XRP. And so I wanted to share that perspective because this is, how I feel in my analysis after watching a video like that and everybody's running around. It's the end of the world. BC Backer called for a bear market. No, he didn't. He gave you scenarios. It was what I call a weather report analysis. Right? It could rain, it could shine. It's a 50% chance. Okay, bring a jacket. Bring your sunglasses, bring your jacket. Practical to your portfolio. Don't get over leveraged. You'll be fine. And don't hold crap. A lot of people are asking, and I was, what was BC Backer holding? He dumped 50%. 50% of what? I don't care to have exposure to Bitcoin right now. Don't care to have exposure to Ethereum, BNB, Solana, a lot of these cryptos, right? Because they've already played out. Bitcoin might, and I'm about a 50-50 shot on Bitcoin setting another top. Okay? 126 might have been it, but you could flip a coin. I'll give you my weather report on maybe Bitcoin does go set another new all-time high. But I don't care to have exposure to it either way because the ROI is negligible, right? And so for me, I watched everybody freaking out over what was an analysis that did not confirm bear market or bull market either way. And I think that it shows that retail is actually full of fear, which is where we're always at before we get these historical run-ups. And we're about to get one that we've never had before because of these ETF inflows. That's the key difference. And so I also wanted to make one more point on this. You have guys that are now trying to chart and use TA on a candle wick that wasn't real. What do I mean by that? When XRP dropped below $2, you didn't have a real market, right? When Bitcoin dropped and this liquidity event was taking place, that was not a real market of buyers and sellers. You want an example? Go find somebody that sold XRP that day. You can't find people. You can find people that sold XRP maybe leading up to that. You cannot find real people that actually hit the sell button on XRP during that event. It was cascading liquidations in the derivative side of the crypto market. We did not have a real market of buyers and sellers below $2 for XRP. So why are we charting and playing around and looking at what isn't real? And so to test this, I want to conduct a study. I put out this tweet. Need to conduct a study. What is the lowest price you were able to buy XRP at during the liquidation event? Were you able to get sub $1.50, $1.25? Now, please list the price, exchange, and whether it was a market or a limit order, because I want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. What was the lowest price you were able to buy it at? What exchange? And was it a market order or a limit order? I suspect that some people were able to get limit orders filled that were just chilling down there, right? You had a limit order sitting at $1.50, $1.20 for whatever reason. That might have gotten filled. My suspicion is that nobody was actually able to market buy. And I know this because everybody's, still upset because I know you weren't able to market buy. The exchanges were down. Some for 15 minutes, some for an hour, some for longer. So I know a lot of people were not able to hit the buy button. And so my question to you guys today is, were you able, what was the lowest price that anybody was able to buy? And this will prove that we didn't have a real market. Limit orders were being filled because they were already sitting on the order book. But other than that, you did not have a real market of buyers and sellers. So why would you sit here at your computer playing around with your chart on a wick that wasn't even real? That was not real price action. We've never seen a liquidity event like this in the crypto space. This is 10 times bigger than any other liquidation event we've ever had. This is all in the derivatives, which, by the way, this liquidity event would not have happened. It couldn't even be possible without Tether, these offshore exchanges, and some of the other stable coins, and these are all derivatives. Tether's a derivative of the dollar. Any other stable coin, and saw USDE, the stable coin from Ethereum, or Ethena, I should say, that depegged, but it wasn't a real depeg, which is true. They have some valid points there. And then the offshore exchanges and all the derivatives over there. This was a derivatives implosion that was reflected on the spot charts and the spot order books, but you had no real market, no real trading at those levels. So I would take that TA and I would throw it out the window. Personally, why would I, there's a 70-cent wick on Binance. I'm looking at a $1.25 wick on a lot of other exchanges too. But did anybody actually buy or sell at those levels? No. And where did XRP go back up to? Well, I'll show you right here. XRP that day, this wick, this was not real. This is not a reality that, anybody could actually take advantage of. And where did XRP go? Right back up to 230. So as far as I'm concerned, disregard this wick. The only thing that I would say that applies is the same wick that we did in 2017. And guess who was behind that one? Binance. The same players who weren't 100%, I wouldn't say that they were 100% responsible, but they definitely have, a role. They definitely have a role. But we were right back up to 230. So why are people playing around with TA analysis on this wick? It wasn't real. This was fake. 230 is the level that we went right back up to. We run back up here to 264. And then here today, we pull back to 240. And we did have a little order block sitting here. So we filled that up. And we have a whole, pullback here, correction. But all this was a pullback to about 230. Disregard everything below this. And what do you know? The bullish structure is actually still intact. And we still have this order block that we're going to fill too. Now, this morning, what we did is we filled the CME gap for Bitcoin that was at 110,000. Right, back over to the charts. Where'd Bitcoin go today? Right on down here to 109.9 on KuCoin. Right back to 110. All that's taken place here is an extended wave 4. You're about to bounce out of here. Could take some time. We could chop sideways for a month or two. But this market is still intact. It is still bullish. I'm still looking for XRP to outperform the rest of the market as well, specifically based off these ETF inflows. You cannot put that on your chart. And that's where you can't just rely on the analytics, the technical analysis exclusively. Okay. Just like nobody had it on their chart that XRP and Bitcoin was going to, break down this low. Nobody really has it on their chart, right? That XRP is now going to blast off, other than we already had existing fib levels up there. And when I see peak fear, peak FUD, which we were talking about last week, peak FUD arriving, and this liquidity flush was the completion of that, that tells me that we've cleaned it up and we're ready to start moving back up. And the max pain is sending Bitcoin to a new all-time high, Ethereum to a new all-time high, and XRP, most importantly, because that's the most hated rally in crypto, is XRP, sending that up into price discovery, a new all-time high. That's max pain. Max pain is not driving this market down lower. Max pain is now watching this thing go up and hit new all-time highs after you wiped out a lot of traders and scared a lot of retail out of this market. Once again, the suits have the champagne on ice. Whose yacht party are we going to have the ETF launch party on? Who's going to be the DJ? That's what the suits are figuring out. Well, degen leverage traders got wiped out. Retail's too scared to buy this dip, which is going to we're going to look back on this moment. And I think that this 240 to 260 XRP that you're getting right now is going to be seen as historically one of the best buying opportunities that you could have taken advantage of before XRP's on its way up to my $20 to $30 base case in 2026. I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What was the lowest price that you were able to buy XRP at? Which exchange? And was it a limit or market order? I'm going to be reading your guys' comments, and we're going to be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for a full breakdown. I appreciate your support. We'll see you in the next one. God bless you all.